Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for WLBT Plus. My name is Kara Shirley. I'm your digital news desk host. It is Wednesday, the 26th. I think it doesn't matter how many times I actually write that date down anywhere. Anytime I go to say it, I have to look at my watch to make sure I'm saying the right date. But it is Wednesday, the 26th of March. We are almost done with this month. As a matter of fact, next Monday is going to be the last day of March, which means that next Tuesday is going to be the primaries for local elections around here, mayoral, city alderman, city councilman, things like that. So you want to make sure that you are prepared to go vote on next Tuesday if you haven't already, because you can absentee vote here in Mississippi. Well, it's been a cloudy day out there, kind of a little muggy. We are expecting some rain chances today. Before we jump into the news, I do want to say thank you to all who are watching on our website, WLBT.com, or through our news app. And of course, if you are watching on our social streams, thank you so much for tuning in there. Don't forget, you can always leave your comments, thoughts, suggestions, questions, anything like that in the comment section there. We do ask that you be nice, but it's a free country, so you can say what you want. Let's take a look outside right now over downtown Jackson, courtesy of our Jackson Water Cam. Like I said a minute ago, it is cloudy out there. Do have some clouds in the sky and some rain chances expected in our area. We're going to look at the forecast briefly in just a little bit. At 2:30 today, though, our first alert weather team will be in here, and they're going to give you that more in-depth look at our chances of rain today, as well as the severe threat that we are expecting over the weekend. Going to be able to give you more in-depth details on that forecast. So make sure you're tuning in at 2:30 today. So let's go ahead and jump into the news, things that happened yesterday, some stuff that's happened today, giving you updates on different things. A couple of weeks ago, we told you about a Jackson police officer who had been arrested for domestic violence and aggravated assault. And he has now been fired from the Jackson Police Department. So his name is Jaguar Winder. And he went before a judge yesterday. Let me get this video pulled up for you guys. So he went before the judge, but yesterday the Jackson Police Department announced that they did fire him. The officer, again, is charged with aggravated domestic violence and aggravated assault. So he's accused of ramming into his pregnant ex-girlfriend's vehicle as it was going down the interstate. So his lawyer did argue during the preliminary hearing that his client was not in the wrong. He claims that a love triangle was involved in this incident. However, his bond was still set at $1 million. We're going to continue to cover and follow this and bring you the updates as it comes into us here at WLBT. And the police in Ridgeland are asking for your help in identifying a man that was found dead in the landfill there yesterday. So the man was found by an employee at the Little Dixie landfill on North County Line Road. He was wearing a dark colored shirt bearing United States Postal Service with the logo in yellow on the front of the shirt. He's described as being in his 50s to 60s, a black man with a gray stubble beard and balding with white stubble on his head. Chief Meyer says it does not look like the man had been there in the landfill for a long time, and he is now asking for your help in identifying this man.
The number to call is 601-856-5210. That is our investigative unit. Detectives are standing by to take those calls. I think it's important to note that T-shirt, United States Postal Service on it. Somebody knows that he was wearing that shirt, and hopefully somebody hears this.
So again, if you have any information, you can call Ridgeland's investigative unit or the police department. The number that they just gave was 601-856-5210. Once again, the man is estimated to be in his 50 to 60s. He was a black male, gray stubble beard and balding with white stubble on his head, had a dark colored t-shirt on with a yellow logo that said United States Postal Service. So if you have any information, please contact the Ridgeland Police Department and pass that along to them. Looking here on our chat, Sheila Denise. Hi, Sheila. How are you doing today? It says, what is a stubble beard? I guess it's some that barely has your growth out. Not a lot of growth there. That's just how they described it, was stubble. So very low growth on that beard there. Now we're going to look at a timeline from the shootings that happened this past weekend and the after hours of the St. Patty's Day parade here in Jackson. So Capitol Police released a timeline regarding multiple reports of teens with guns. This was actually in front of Thalia Hall on Saturday. So here's what we know about the timeline that they have released. So Capitol Police patrol units arrived at 5:12 p.m. These officers were unable to find a disturbance. Then at 5:50, they received a call from JPD saying concerned citizens saw teenagers with guns outside of Thalia. Officers then would arrive at 6:09 and saw a group of teens running away, but due to the crowds, they lost contact with those teens. The search for them was called off at 6:36. So you can see a complete breakdown of the timeline events of this story at WLBT.com. If you have any additional information, you can pass that along to the Capitol Police Department. And in Jackson yesterday, a shooting happened on Washington Avenue. We're at that intersection of Washington Avenue and Hill Avenue. Here is that intersection. If you're not quite familiar with where it's at, we have Valley Street. And then, of course, the scene of the shooting there at that intersection. So when the Capitol Police arrived, they arrived there just before 5:30, and they discovered a man was suffering from a gunshot wound to his leg. He was taken to a nearby hospital. At this time, no arrests have been made. We don't have any information on the status of the gunshot victim. Still in the hospital. Was he released? We don't have any information for that at this time. However, if you have any information on this, if you lived in that area, if you have security cameras, if you have that Ring doorbell camera, anything like that, and look and see if you see something, hear something around the 5:30 p.m. mark yesterday. And if you do, contact Capitol Police and pass that information along to them. So hopefully we can find out who the suspect is in this gunshot wound here. So yesterday, it was announced by the Hinds County District Attorney that a man has been sentenced for the stabbing of his paralyzed father, actually stabbed his paralyzed father to death. So Hinds County DA says that Christopher Beauclair pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in the stabbing of his father, Kenneth Beauclair. The murder happened in November of 2022 on Riser Street. Beauclair was pronounced dead at the scene. Christopher Beauclair later then turned himself in to the Byram Police Department. The suspect was sentenced to 40 years, with 15 of those years suspended. So he's going to be serving 25 years in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections, followed by 3 years of post-release supervision. So he pleaded guilty and was sentenced yesterday in that murder from 2022. Then yesterday came out, we were informed and reported on some Yazoo middle schoolers who actually were hospitalized for edibles. So it was about 6 middle school students in Yazoo City. They had to be taken to the hospital after consuming these edibles. So it happened at the Betty E. Woolfolk Middle School on 5th Street. Here's where it is located right here. You can see you have Dr. Martin Luther King Drive, Lamar Avenue, and East 5th Street. This is again in Yazoo City. So Police Chief Terry Gann says all of the students will be okay. At least 2 were released from the hospital yesterday. And the chief says that an officer believes the student brought the edibles to school and gave them to his classmates. He said that that student will likely be charged. Woolfolk Middle School is part of the state-run Mississippi Achievement District. Superintendent Earl Watkins released a statement saying, as a district, we remain committed to the safety and well-being of our students, and we have taken proactive steps to educate families about products that may appear harmless but pose serious risk. So, no update today on if the remainder of the kids that ingested those edibles have been released from the hospital. If we get an update, we will certainly pass it along to you. We've talked a lot about the mayor election here in Jackson and Flowood, and we're going to be talking more about it here at WLBT Plus tomorrow and Friday as we interview the mayoral candidates from Brandon. But there hasn't been a lot of talk about the other positions that are up for election during this new election cycle on April the 1st. Well, last night you could have heard from your city council persons at Jackson State University, those that are running for office here in the city of Jackson. So dozens came out to JSU's Liberal Arts Auditorium for the Meet the Candidates Symposium sponsored by the college's political science department. So those campaigning to represent one of the 7 wards in the city got the chance to share their vision with residents. All current city council members are vying for re-election except for Ward 7 Councilwoman Virgie Lindsay and Ward 6 Councilman Aaron Banks. One resident expresses what qualities he hopes to see in the next city council person.
There's somebody who's able to get in the community and work with the community, like instead of working from an office, like, well, we can't see you, we can't. I'm just looking for somebody who's able to come out and talk to the people and just be one amongst the people. It's a lot of stuff that I feel like that we could be doing that historically has not been done.
Questions you are provided. Thank you.
So again, you can get out and vote next Tuesday, April the 1st, for the primaries. That includes for the wards here in Jackson and in other areas, other towns. The mayoral race here in Jackson, Flowood, as well as Brandon will also have mayoral primary elections happening next Tuesday, April the 1st. So make sure you get out and vote so that your voice can be heard. So now there are some details on the House Bill 1 update. This is the House bill that is proposed to help eliminate the state income tax or reduce that. So how soon you're going to stop having to pay those taxes has not yet been ironed out, despite House Bill 1 being sent to the governor. So the version of House Bill 1 that was given the stamp of approval from the legislator isn't exactly what either chamber wanted out of it. The Senate intended for there to be triggers based on the health of the state economy, but a typo in the changes would speed up the elimination of the income tax. The House passed the amended version despite the typo being there. And the speaker says that they are willing to negotiate on the trigger language.
We don't want to pass a bill that says we've eliminated the income tax when the mechanisms in place actually don't allow for full elimination. So we're willing to negotiate about a trigger. We just want it to be a reasonable one.
So any changes to House Bill 1 will have to be made to the Senate tax reforms bill that's still alive. And the governor is expected to sign House Bill 1 later this week. Of course, we will continue to follow it and keep you updated as those updates come into us. I know Courtney and Jackson is staying on top of all things Mississippi government. So stay tuned in here to WLBT, and we'll bring you more updates as they come in. So many residents of Rolling Fork, as you may remember, Rolling Fork hit with those devastating tornadoes. I believe it was 2 years ago, and then just on the anniversary of it, a tornado hit a couple of days ago. But many residents of Rolling Fork are very frustrated about the lack of progress that the city has made to rebuild the town following that destructive tornado 2 years ago. So residents tell 3 on Your Side that while construction of the water tower is now underway, City Hall, the post office, the police and fire departments, and other buildings have not been addressed. Many homes and businesses have been rebuilt, but a lack of rental properties and incomplete city infrastructure are taking a toll on the overall recovery process.
I think our city officials need to really come together and get a plan in motion. The city itself still has a long way to go, and it's a scary thing when you are sitting in a brand new, beautiful building, but you're not sure if the people will be here to support the business.
So Mayor Eldridge Walker says that the Rolling Forks water tower is expected to be completed within the next few months. Construction on City Hall and the post office will likely begin this summer, but the mayor could not give us a timeline on the police or fire departments. And of course, our thoughts and our prayers are still with the people of Rolling Fork as they sadly 2 years later are continuing to deal with the devastating tornadoes that came through. Before we take a look at the forecast here in our area, let's hear from our sponsors at Jackson Water.
At Jackson Water, we are in the game and locked in on our goals. Every day, our dedicated teams are hard at work, ensuring that clean, reliable water flows to every home and business in Jackson. We are not just fixing pipes. We're investing in a brighter, more resilient future for our city. Jackson Water. Water for all the time.
Now, Fight the Blight, a year-long investigation from WLBT. 3 on Your Side.
And we're back. We are continuing our coverage of Fight the Blight. It is our year-long mission to shine a light on the blighted communities here within the city of Jackson so that hopefully we can encourage positive change in the future for our capital city. Well, in this week's edition of Fight the Blight, we meet a Jackson couple who is choosing to embrace the potential in abandoned homes across the city. Mildred Dover and her husband, Dennis Clay, are making moves with a new group that they call Our Home, which involves buying state forfeited properties with the intention of renovating the property and living there while teaching others to also do the same. So Dover says while she once came across a forfeited home on Capitol Street and believed it could be salvaged for good use or even brought back to life for a lucky family. The home is about one of 1,900 state forfeited properties here in Jackson right now. So Dover later convinced her husband to consider buying the abandoned property. Despite all the overgrowth surrounding it, the couple researched the process and the plans to purchase the 2-bedroom, 1-bath house and eventually move in. That's how their group, Our Home, was formed. At least 8 people from the couple's South Jackson neighborhood have joined in the efforts to buy forfeited properties for to do their part to help fight the blight here in Jackson.
I have a solution. The solution is taking some of these homes like this one and giving them to people who want to make them the primary residence, putting them back into the tax system, giving them 2 years to renovate the house.
It'll take a little blood, sweat, and tears to do it, but it can be done. Anybody can do this if they want it.
So the state requires some of the work to be performed by a licensed professional, but with a background in renovations. Dover and Clay estimate it would take about $50,000 for repair of that particular house to make it livable. If you have a story, a Fight the Blight story that you would like to share with us about an area here in Jackson, you can always go to our website, wlbt.com. If you look across the top of the page right here, you see the button where it says Fight the Blight. If you click on that, it's going to take you to a form that you can fill out. You can tell us your information, tell us about the blighted property, and tell us your story. What has happened? Was it some type of crime that was committed against you? Is it just a eyesore in your neighborhood that is continuously going down? Is it abandoned businesses, abandoned homes like that? So if you have a story like that, go to our website, wlbt.com, click Fight the Blight, and submit that to us. We would love to come out and talk to you about the issue that you see so that we can help shine that light on the blighted areas here in Jackson and hopefully get them cleaned up. I know a lot of you, hopefully, or not hopefully, but possibly a lot of you are familiar with the DNA testing companies such as 23andMe. Well, 23andMe announced that they are filing for bankruptcy protection. And a cybersecurity director suggests that if the company has your data, you should not wait for their corporate drama to play out, that you should go ahead and contact them or move to help protect your information. So unlike medical DNA testing firms, consumer testing companies like 23andMe are not bound by federal HIPAA laws that protect your privacy. It means that if the company goes into bankruptcy and its assets are sold, the database holding your information can be part of what is sold. He says that's why you should make the company destroy your data if they have it, and you can request for your data to be destroyed. So if you have submitted something to one of these companies and you wanted to get out of the system before the bankruptcy goes through, you need to go ahead and contact them.
If a marketing company can get hold of that information, they know what health issues you may have in future, so they can use that to market products to you for the rest of your life. Or insurance companies and others, they can discriminate against you. Even employers can look up this information to figure out the health risk of their potential employees and discriminate based on that.
So the company was also hit by a cybersecurity breach in 2023 that impacted their reputation. Have anybody watching, have any of you guys participated in any of the DNA testing, ancestry type things? I did. Learned a lot about the history of my how I came to be. So, but if you are part of the 23andMe, make sure that you go into your account and request that your data be destroyed before this bankruptcy goes into effect. Sheila says that you did one of those. So hopefully good news for you, Sheila. Hopefully, and if not, you don't have to say anything, but hopefully it was good news for you. She also asked, the purpose of the platform is to meet relatives or potential relatives. What happens after bankruptcy? Are they still searching for relatives? Well, I mean, really, it's just a database for your DNA information to be put into, and connections are made with people who match your DNA profile. But then you have to kind of go in and do the extra digging to find who else may be connected to you based off of that, your DNA profile. So they won't be doing any more searching if they go into bankruptcy. Of course, the other companies that do this will still be doing that. But if you don't want your DNA data to stay with the company, you need to request for it to be destroyed before bankruptcy happens. Now, let's look at some good news for some students here in our area. If your children, if they go to Germantown High School, they now have a new performing arts center. So yesterday, a ribbon cutting ceremony took place for the Charlotte Harness Seals Performing Arts Center. It provides a 96,000 square foot facility for students and the faculty. The auditorium seats 1,200 people. It's a state-of-the-art project, was part of accommodating the growing student population in the Gluckstadt area. So congratulations to them for that. And then if we move back up here towards our area, Flowwood, well, I say towards our area. When I say that, I mean closer to where I'm sitting, which is in Jackson. But in Flowwood, the largest pickleball complex in the state is now open. So if you are a fan of pickleball, you can go enjoy the sport at the Flowwood Liberty Park. So city officials are touting the new pickleball complex as the largest in Mississippi, with 18 brand new courts located at the park's entrance. The project includes new park amenities like a kids' playground, a new parking lot. Flowwood Mayor Gary Rhodes hopes that the new facility will not just help the city, but the community as a whole.
It's not necessarily Flowwood itself, but it's the people in Flowwood. And you know, it's very wonderful when you can go and share in a sport with your fellow neighbor, shake his hands, even if you lose, and say, be praying for you. Hope to see you tomorrow at the courts.
So as part of the opening festivities, Flowwood will be hosting the inaugural Big Deal tournament this Saturday. But there's supposed to be some rain this Saturday, so I hope it doesn't get washed out. Speaking of that rain, though, 2:30 today is when you want to be here to get the details from our First Alert weather team. That's going to be it for me today here on WLBT Plus. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and I will be joined by the Brandon mayoral candidate, Fred Shanks. He'll be on the show with me, so make sure you're tuning in then so we can find out what his plans are for the city of Brandon should he get elected mayor. Actually, he'll be elected mayor on the primaries. Of course, he'll still have to go through general election, but he and the incumbent mayor, which will be here Friday, they will be battling it out, so to speak, on April the 1st. But I will be back tomorrow at 1, so I hope that you join me then. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.